In this video, I'm going to make the cutest characters gritty and the grittiest characters, well, cute. Now we've done style swaps before, but it was just sort of a mishmash of whatever was on the board, and sometimes you end up with pretty contrasting combinations, and they're also the funnest. So I thought for this video, let's just do only that. We're going to spin 2 wheels, one filled with only the cutest, most innocent characters and properties, and the second filled with the grittiest, darkest mainstream properties. Digital wheel spin number 1. Peppa Pig, the cutest pig there is, if anatomically completely off. All right, who are we mixing Peppa Pig with? $300. Like, this is Sparta! Like the very violent R-rated 300. All right, we're swimming straight in the deep end, I guess. Now, of course, I need to start off by gathering references. And for 300, while I will get a few from the movie is very, very inspired by its source material, the 300 graphic novel. And the comic style has this really gritty, very sort of heavily shaded style, which I'm gonna lean into. And for Peppa Pig references, well, you know. So let's start with the gritty, shall we? I am going to sketch out a anthropomorphized but realistic version of Peppa Pig. So Peppa Pig is gonna get the gritty treatment but still be Peppa, a daughter of course to Daddy Pig, and Daddy Pig is gonna be our Spartan warrior. So I'm gonna rough in a sketch of both Peppa, who's gonna be wearing sort of Greek robes which will allow me to sort of keep something akin to the outfit she has in the show, but of course Daddy Pig standing behind her ready to protect his daughter. Even though he's a pig, he still has to work in the universe of 300, and every Spartan warrior has to have a six-pack. It's the law of Sparta, apparently. If you don't have a six-pack, you're out. I've just got the roughing in, and I love and hate where this is going. So now we just gotta take it through to the comic book style. Now I want to get the aesthetic as close to the graphic novel as possible. So I'm using my Impact ink brush from my brush set, which has that little bit of extra grit to it, and I'm gonna start off just by doing outlines and subtle textures throughout the piece. The line work for this is really coming together. I weirdly love how this is going. It's always prompts and projects like this that catch me by surprise as to how sort of like well they seem to work. Like if you never saw Peppa Pig or 300 and someone invented a story that was aesthetically like this, I feel like it's passable, you know? But to make it past the Frank Miller graphic novel test, it definitely needs heavy shading. So I'm gonna thicken up my ink brush and go in with some solid black shaded areas with that little bit of extra texture, creating a light source and a much more moody vibe in my piece. It works. It's working. I want to read the Peppa Pig 300 graphic novel now. I can't help but just imagine some of the character quirks and sayings from the Peppa Pig show sort of gritified and brought into the tone of 300. As I lay in the foundation of colors and work in a little bit of shading, I'm going to finish off the rough coloring of this one with a nice bloody puddle under Daddy Pig and Peppa. Please tell me I'm not alone in thinking this is actually cool. It's so dumb and weirdly cool. I don't know. Something about epic pigs. But what about cute Peppa Pig style 300? Like with epicified Peppa Pig, let's pepperify our Spartans. Now I decided because every character in Peppa Pig is an animal of some kind and they vary, but because Sparta is sort of represented by the wolf, especially through their trials for manhood, I'm using Wendy Wolf as my reference. And the style is just so damn simple, I'm literally just gonna trace it and, you know, 300ify it. Removing the clothes and giving a codpiece, of course, a little cape, a spear, a shield, and of course, after we've gone through and added colour throughout our character, we need to add in those obligatory abs. But of course, this is an army of Spartans. We can't just call it with one Spartan wolf. We have to create the army of 300 warriors as they would appear if the characters and story of 300 were told in the universe of Peppa Pig. I might be biased, but I'd actually watch Peppa Pig if it were like this. Alright, that was a strong start right out the gate with Peppa Pig and 300. Let's spin our wheels again, shall we? There's no wheel here in real life. Is my editor putting it in? I hope so, because otherwise I look like an idiot. Oh, what is it? Bluey, the dog and well, mainly the dogs. Bluey's gonna get a gritty swap over with... Oh no. Warhammer 40k and Bluey. Actually, I feel like this could work too. I feel like I can see this one. All right, I've got some ideas already. Let's go. And this one might just be a breeze because, well, there's plenty of dog-related stuff in 40k, specifically the space wolves. They're sort of doggish. Anyways, with some reference images of some space marines, ultramarines in particular, especially because they're blue, and the main chapter of 40k, which works well for this, and of course some Bluey reference pictures, a couple of pictures of blue healers, which are Australian sheepdogs, which is what Bluey's based on, and a space marine wolfen just for inspiration. I'm going to start off with my blue healer head and start decking him out with space marine armor. Originally I was sort of torn as to whether I go more in the animalistic wolfen direction with this one, but given the clean aesthetic of the Bluey characters and the fact that the ultramarines are just so blue, it just makes sense to create a sub-chapter of our ultramarines, which is a place for Bluey in the 40k universe to exist. But instead of the insignia of the ultramarine logo, we're gonna have bones because, well, I mean, they often have skulls. A skull is a bone, and bones are bones, and bones are sort of badass and also something dogs like, so it makes sense. I've got my roughing of my Space Marine doggo. It looks ridiculous. But the funny thing is in 40k, everything is ridiculous. Like my custom 40k chapter is the Space Bears, and I've got like Space Marines mounted on bears. I've gone so crazy with my stupid Space Bears chapter that we have like giant half machine bears, bear tanks. So dog marines works. Like it's really not all that far-fetched in the 41st millennium. Let's bring it to life. Starting off with some line work, keeping it pretty simple because I want room just for the colours and the shading to breathe on this one. So I'm going with a bit of a pencil aesthetic, which is going to be subtle and pushed to the background. Then I layered one big flat layer of blue, which I can use to clipping mask and start painting subsections inside. A lighter greyish blue for the fur, and then starting to segment off the different sections. Now where the ultramarine shoulder pads and different embellishments are gold, I'm going to create a custom colour scheme because the accents of the blue design is that sort of light sky blue. So I'm going to work with that for the trims and some of the accents in the areas that they sort of are on Bluey, which actually works pretty well to create a nice aesthetic flow on my Bluey Space Marine. Now it's just a matter of throwing in a layer of shadow and erasing areas where the light will hit and softening that out to create a really three-dimensional lighting effect, and then on through the rest of the piece to do some of the more nuanced shading. Adding in a hint of blood, of course, because it is Warhammer 40k, we have to take this one to the next level too. Take it away, Alicia. Let's see how far we can take this one. I mean, I'd collect the Bluey Marines. All right, let's do the opposite now. We're gonna do 40K characters in universe in Bluey. But Bluey is a little trickier because Peppa Pig is just like various animals. Bluey is like dogs. So again, I guess we're doing dog marines. With a couple of pictures on the side so I can follow it and create my construction, I wanted to create a powerful Space Marine Sergeant pose with the proportions and construction, of course, of a Bluey character. Obviously, my version has quite a lot of detail for the style. The biggest impact in this piece is going to be sectioning off the line work and creating different variations of color within the lines to fit the different areas of our Bluey. And here is our Bluey universe Space Marine. And again, like this is Warhammer 40K in the style and in the universe of Bluey. So you just sort of have to imagine that the entire story of Warhammer 40K and the Emperor and the betrayals and the heresy and the war is this friendly and adorable looking. I'd watch it. For sure. I don't know, you let me know if I'm hitting the mark or not, but this feels pretty cool. At the end of the day, whether it's simple or complex, mucking around with character styles is really, really fun, which is why I created my character design masterclass. Anyone who's been on this channel for any period of time knows character design's kind of my thing. Obviously a lot of people do it, but I'm obsessed with it and have been for a long time. It's been a big part of this channel for a long time. I wrote a book on character design. I'm addicted to character design and I wanted to share that addiction with you in a way that makes it approachable and fun and gives you the tools you need to create any character in any universe from your imagination or from someone else's. My character design masterclass is over 4.5 hours of high quality, well edited and really enjoyable education, whether you're a beginner or an intermediate artist, covering everything from basics of illustration and taking your drawing to the next level, produce different kinds of detail and then expressions and proportions of your characters, and then taking you through the design process, the 4 simple steps that you can repeat time and time again to get awesome results every time in ways that you can understand and you can apply and try yourself. So go check it out, it's brand new and it's the biggest compilation of all the best stuff I've ever done on character design. It is, I'm proud to say, the best character design and character creation course I've ever put out there. And a huge thank you to anyone who gets that and supports the channel. I know you're going to love the masterclass. I loved making it. Honestly, I finished filming it just on a huge high from the characters I made during the class. Because making characters is fun. Let's have more fun. Let's make some more characters here. We're going to spin the wheel again. You ready? Can we bring the wheel on, editor? Thank you. There it is. Curious George. Okay, Curious George as animated in the HBO children's television show. We're gonna gritty swap this one with the universe of Batman and the Joker and the Dark Knight and all that gritty goodness. How much are we leaning into bat or monkey here? This will be a challenge. But I've had to have more challenging challenges before, so we just gotta follow the process. Got a bunch of reference images here with George and the man in the yellow hat and Batman and some villains. You'll notice I have a reference of chimpanzees. And that's because in my gritty reboot of Curious George, I'm gonna make George a chimpanzee. It's speculated that he's a Barbary macaque? I don't know how to pronounce that. But he doesn't have a tail, unlike most other monkeys. But you know what else doesn't have a tail? Chimpanzees. So I figured since I haven't been told explicitly otherwise, my Batman George is gonna be a chimpanzee. Now, I started off with the big ears in my construction, but instead I've switched it to pointy. I was going to have him to be sort of like Monkey Man, but he is actually a chimpanzee. There's no reason a chimpanzee can't be as inspired by bats as a man is. Therefore, he's gonna be Bat Chimp, or I mean, bat monkey rolls off the tongue more. I don't know, is a chimpanzee a monkey? Now I have to Google this. Is a chimpanzee a monkey?
Chimpanzees are not monkeys.
Ah, damn it! Alright, I guess he's Bat Chimp. And our man in the yellow hat is gonna be, well, a man in a yellow hat, but inspired by the Riddler. And instead of being covered in question marks, he's gonna be covered in the symbol comprised of the question mark and exclamation mark, which is actually called an interrobang. It has a name. And maybe instead of being the Riddler, he's the Interrobanger. No, definitely not. But it's definitely time for some line work. So let's bring our Batchimp to life. With the line work of my Batchimp down and my... I can't help but want to call him the Interrobanger. You know what? I'm going with it. Here's the Interrobanger. It's time to slap in some color. Obviously, our Interrobanger is going to be yellow, even though the Riddler is green. This is, at the end of the day, the characters from Curious George in the Batman universe and style. So it's still those characters, and to make sense of this in my head, George, who is also Batchimp, tries to do good things and is our protagonist, but our Interrobanger foils him at every turn. Not because he's evil, but mainly because, well, I mean, the Interrobang symbol is meant to signify like surprise or confusion. I think he just sort of keeps stumbling in the way. So he's probably not all that evil. He just, you know, he's just not very competent. So I'm going to slap in a layer of shadow, erase out some highlight sections, give it a bit of extra punch, and then hand it over to Alicia to take it to the next level. Alright, of all three, this is the one that probably is the dumbest, but it's still cool. I don't know, it's just fun seeing stuff reimagined in different styles. How we're gonna do this in the other direction is a whole different challenge, but we'll give it a crack. Starting off with our George, same proportions as usual, but this George is going to be inspired by the episode where he goes to clown school. Yes, that's right, George is actually going to be our Joker, because it is in the Curious George lore that the clown school is a thing, and it just makes sense that the Joker in the Curious George universe is Curious George. Always curious, always up to no good. He's mischievous and he's an agent of chaos, so it only makes sense to marry those two together. With the basic colors down, I wasn't so sure, but it's as soon as I get to darkening in those eyes and adding the red mouth of the Joker smile that I think, you know what, this is working now all of a sudden. So let's move on to our man in the yellow hat, who I've drawn as more of a detective like the original Batman was. Instead of the man in the yellow hat, he's the man in the yellow costume. And it's his fault this gosh darn monkey got out in the first place, so he's got to clean up his mess and put this no good monkey away for good. Unfortunately, the shading style of Curious George is super simple. It just has like this soft, like darker gradient on the sides. So adding that soft shading throughout my characters, and all of a sudden I have my Batman characters in the style and in the universe of Curious George. Oh my god, I just realized! Because the man in the yellow hat isn't just the man in the yellow costume, he's Hat Man. Because he's I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you love this or hate this, but I have had a lot of fun, and this is incredibly stupid, and there are so many more combinations that are possible. So if you want to see this again, please let me know. If this was a terrible idea, please let me know. I just need some input here, because I feel like I'm a crazy person alone in a room. But that brings us to the end of this video. I have had a lot of fun. I hope you have too. Subscribe for more fun. And if you want to have as much fun creating characters as I have, go check out my masterclass. So if you get it, of course, it supports the channel, but I want to make it extra fun for any of you who get it early since it's just released. I actually am running a competition. For those of you who want to follow along with the course and try out your skills and have a chance to win hundreds of dollars of art supplies, a signed original art print, and a one-on-one art lesson with me. The details of that are in the download section of the first module of the class. So go check out the masterclass, links in the description. Otherwise, I love you with all my heart. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.